Mangwana ni Malelepo Vukenjani, Class Van of Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Bedi and Glenora Shipura. It is Friday, the 19th of April. How are you doing?
It is finally Friday.
Finally Friday, we're here.
I'm doing very well. I'm quite excited to, taste one of your bright plates.
We'll see how it goes. I'll be busy this weekend. We've got the Inter High, which is going to be showing on NTV. Tomorrow will be on Sport Rap throughout the day. But let's see how Sunday works out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. My mouth is already watering. Let's take a look at what you can expect in today's broadcast. Burna Boy, Kolisi, and William Ruto among world's most influential people. Burkina Faso kicks out 3 French diplomats over subversive activities. And Ukraine warns of World War III ahead of long-stalled Congress aid vote. We'll also be talking to Mike Suchula, who'll be filling us in on the latest news in Zambia. We'll be right back with the top stories. Getting into our top stories, Ukraine's prime minister has told the BBC there will be a third world war if Ukraine loses its conflict with Russia, as he urged the U.S. Congress to pass a long-stalled foreign aid bill. Denis Shyamal expressed careful optimism that U.S. lawmakers would pass the hotly contested measure, which has $61 billion earmarked for Kiev. The House of Representatives is set to vote on the package this Saturday. The proposal includes funding for Israel as well as the Indo-Pacific. Russia says any fresh American aid for Ukraine will not make a difference on the battlefield, as situation on the front line is looking unfavorable in Kiev. Speaking to the BBC in Washington, D.C., Ukrainian Prime Minister Shyamal said of the U.S. security assistance, "We need this money yesterday, not tomorrow, not today. If we will not protect, Ukraine will fall," he added. So the global system of security will be destroyed, and all the world will need to find a new system of security, or there will be many conflicts, many such kinds of wars, and in the end of the day, it could lead to a third world war. This is not the first time Ukraine has issued such an alarming warning about the consequences of its potential defeat. Getting into our next story, Burkina Faso has accused 3 French diplomats of subversive activities and ordered them to leave the country within 48 hours, according to a foreign ministry letter viewed by Reuters and agency France Presse news agencies. Burkina Faso's government did not provide details of the allegations against the expelled diplomats, who it named as Guanele Haboist, Hervé Fournier, and Guillermo Risacha. Reuters cited a source with direct knowledge of the situation as saying their expulsion was due to meetings they held with civil society leaders. France condemned the move on Thursday. There were no legitimate grounds for the Burkinabe authorities' decision. "We can only deplore it," said Christopher Lemoine, a spokesperson for France's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He said the allegations against the 3 were unfounded. Now, since coming to power in September 2022, in a coup, Burkina Faso's military government has pulled away from France, its former colonial power, kicking out French troops, suspending some French media, and repeatedly accusing French officials of espionage.
All right, now in our next story, Afrobeats megastar Burna Boy, who was in Namibia just 2 years ago. I had the opportunity to open the stage for him. Well, Kenya's President William Ruto and captain of South Africa's national rugby team, Kolisi, are leading the group of Africans who have been recognized by Time magazine among the world's most influential people. Burna Boy was featured in the Icons category, which celebrates individuals who have left a lasting mark in their fields. Grammy-winning French Beninese singer Angelique
Kijo hailed the Nigerian musician as history in the making. Now, Kolisi was recognized for his leadership through wisdom and humility. South African comedian Trevor Noah said that Kolisi gave hope during a time in which many South Africans find it hard to hold on to any by leading the country to a stunning Rugby World Cup win last year. Now, President Ruto was named for spearheading Africa's climate action.
Now, in some positive developments for Mzansi, South Africa has now gone for 21 days consecutively without power cuts, the first time such a streak has been achieved in nearly 2 years. The last time Eskom achieved a similar milestone was in June 2022, with 20 consecutive days without load shedding. State-owned power company Eskom said in a statement on Wednesday. Now, the statement added that Eskom would continue to suspend the power cuts known locally as load shedding until further notice. It attributed the stabilization of power supply to reduced demand for electricity, adequate emergency power reserves, and an improvement in its electricity generation capacity. But some South Africans have voiced skepticism on social media, speculating that the reduced power cuts could be a scheme by the ruling government to appease voters ahead of next month's crucial general election.
Yes, and that election is on the 29th of May. Into the last of our top stories, the Mozambican Confederation of Business Associations has expressed its concern at what it regards as a high tax burden, the collection of taxes that have no legal justification, and the non-compliance with measures of the Economic Acceleration Package, which calls for government to purchase national products and reduce value-added tax. The business people expressed these concerns this week in Maputo at a session of the Business Environment Monitoring Council, a forum led by the Prime Minister Adriano Meliane. Addressing the concerns raised by business people, the Deputy Minister of Economy and Finance, Amilcar Tivane, said that the government cannot maintain exemptions from VAT on processed goods forever. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. After the break, we're going to be talking to Mike Sichula in Zambia.
Hello, Namibia. Ons is by die kus en ons is lig.
Away by the Easter shark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yes. Please, today you make sure that we are fed.
sorry, ekasi.
It is time for us to talk to Mike Sichula as he brings us the latest news stories from Zambia. Mike Muriwanji.
Tiribwino Muribwanji, Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Tiribwino. Now, in your first story, Mike, Zambia needs over 940 million US dollars. Could you please tell us why?
Yeah, so President Hakainde Hichilema, when he addressed the nation this week, he did say that out of 23.5 billion kwacha, 1.3 billion kwacha is available, leaving a gap of 22.2 billion kwacha, which is over $960 million that Zambia needs in order to address the effects of the drought that Zambia experienced during this rain season. So he also says that 12.6 billion kwacha is required for immediate food assistance. The president has since appealed to the international communities, partners within the country who include the private sector, the church and civil society organization to support Zambia's plan both financially or materially. He did say that Zambia is capable of rising above this drought that has affected close to 6.6 million people who are in need of relief food because of the drought. So the drought has affected different sectors of the economy, from the agricultural sector to the tourism sector, the health sector, including the educational sector, have been affected in one way or the other. Hence, the appeal for 22.2 billion kwacha for Zambia in order to address these challenges.
Now, in a related development, Japan has pledged to invest 1.5 billion US dollars to support Zambia's mining sector.
Yeah, so the Japanese government has pledged to invest that amount of money to support investment by Japanese companies to boost Zambia's mining sector. So Japanese Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry, Mito Seauto Keni, says the Japanese Business Corporation is eager to invest in the country's mining sector. Mr. Ken said this during a bilateral meeting held with Mines and Minerals Development Minister Paul Kabuswe at the Ministry of Trade and Industry in Tokyo, Japan. And Mr. Kabuswe said government wants partnership and investment with Japan in areas such as geo mapping. So geo mapping is one of those areas that Zambia has not done very well, so that they understand which regions have whatever minerals underground. So it is something that the Minister of Mines is appealing to the Japanese government to assist Zambia in order to conduct a thorough geo mapping across the country.
All right, Mike. Now, we understand that critics of President Hakainde Hichilema have called on him not to attend the Kuomboka traditional ceremony. Why is this so?
So the background to this story is that there's a group of people in Western Province that are saying Western Province, properly known as the Barose land, should become a separate country away from Zambia. So when President Hichilema did address the nation at some point, he did indicate that there's no place such as Barose land as a country. And so this has created more or less like a tension between this group of people and the president. So instead of the usual invitation of the president to be the guest of honor, the Balose Loyal establishment has invited a traditional leader from the Bemba land to be the guest of honor. Now, this has more or less like created the one in the picture is Chief Paramount Chief Chitimukuru, who's been invited to be the guest of honor. So now the State House has also released a statement to say President Hakainde Hichilema is going to attend this ceremony as an ordinary citizen. But as you know, when a president moves, he moves with his entire office. And so critics are saying the decision by the president to attend this event, even when he was not invited, is going to create attention shift from the main ceremony to him, and also what has been happening between the government and this traditional grouping. So this is why people are asking President Hichilema to not to attend, so that the attention does not shift from the traditional ceremony to him as the president attending this event as an ordinary citizen.
In the last of your stories, authorities have released the aircraft which was implicated in the gold scandal last year.
Yeah, so this plane created a lot of debate in the country, particularly that some of the people that were involved or arrested in this gold scam, some of them worked under the security wing of the president at State House. So this week, Director of Drug Enforcement Commission, Nelson Banda, says the release of the plane follows thorough legal processes as prescribed by the courts of law. Mr. Banda says that the owners of the aircraft made presentations in court, and following the presentation in court, the Director of Public Prosecution and other parties entered into an agreement which resulted in the court signing a consent judgment to allow the plane to leave the country. But the money that was seized in this plane has since amounting to $5 million United States dollars has since been forfeited to the state, and other materials that were found on board on this plane have been seized to the state as well. But what has been released to the foreign nationals, that is the Egyptian nationals, is the plane that you just we saw on the picture there.
All right.
right, we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that story as well. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the latest stories from Zambia.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning to our dear viewers. Have a lovely weekend.
We definitely shall have a lovely weekend. Let's take a look at our weather predictions before we return with economic news.
Now, the airport in the South African city of Cape Town has been named as the best airport on the continent in a customer survey by the consumer ratings organization Skytrax. Globally, Cape Town is ranked 54th. It has seen its position on the list drop in recent years. In 2020, it came 23rd. Two other South African airports, Durban and Johannesburg, came second and third respectively in the continental listing. The airport in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, was ranked 7th in Africa, and Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport came 10th.
Getting to our next story, two former BNP Paribas bankers have raised almost $100 million for a new fund which aims to unlock billions of dollars of funding for climate-aligned infrastructure projects in Africa. Accra Impact Capital, a private debt impact investment manager, is looking to address the estimated $100 billion annual infrastructure financing gap on the continent by providing a portion of the unsecured funding for export finance projects. Typically, export credit agencies guarantee up to 85% of loans and require the rest to be raised privately. Yet banks' willingness to fund the remainder has declined, as such projects carry a higher capital charge and can be hard to reinsure.
All right, those have been our economic news stories. We're going to head on over to the indicators just before Adi Hochart brings us the sport.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with soccer news firstly. Soccer news from the Champions League and two massive matchups that was played in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and both English Premier League clubs that's out of the competition. It is defending champion Manchester City that lost to Real Madrid, and they lost 4-3 on penalties. That game was played at Manchester City, and so they're out of the tournament, and it is also their treble dreams that is in tatters. They can still make the English double by winning the league and the FA Cup. It is Real Madrid that will play against Bayern Munich. It's Bayern Munich that beat Arsenal, and they played at home. That was in Munich in the Allianz Stadium, and they beat Arsenal 1-0. That is for aggregate score of 3-2. That is also to advance to the semi-final to play against Real Madrid. Moving on to Formula One racing news, it is the Chinese Grand Prix this coming weekend, and news from Mercedes is that they continue to struggle to find pace in the 2024 season. At the moment, it is George Russell in 7th position on 24 points, and Lewis Hamilton battling in 9th position on 10 points. And it's Lewis Hamilton that said that he will race well into his 40s, and he gets his inspiration from Fernando Alonso. And it is Lewis Hamilton that will be 40 years next year, and he signed a new deal with Ferrari. And it is also Fernando Alonso that signed a new deal with Aston Martin, and it will take him past his 45th birthday when he races up till the season of 2026. So that is Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton, still very positive to race for a long time in Formula One. And closing off today's international sports news, it is tennis news from the Barcelona Open. It is a thousands tournament being played on clay on the ATP Men's Tour. And big news from the tournament is that Rafael Nadal is out of the tournament. He lost in the second round. He lost to Alex de Minaur of Australia. The score is 7-5 and 6-1. It was Nadal that just came back from an injury layoff that was hampered him since January. Other results in the tournament is also number 6 seed Hugo Hubert. He's from France. He also lost to Dusan Jakovic, and he's also out in the round of 32. And then it is Stefanos Tsitsipas. He won the past weekend in Monte Carlo. He is continuing his good form. He beat Steph Offner by 6-4 and 7-5, and that was also in the round of 32. And he will play Roberto Buenos of Spain. The player that Tsitsipas played against in the final in Monte Carlo, that is Casper Ruud, also on winning ways. He beat Alex Müller of France by 6-3 and 6-4 to advance to the next round. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Thank you for staying with Africa. Good morning. Let's have a look at the highlights from this broadcast. Ukraine warns of World War III ahead of long-stalled U.S. Congress aid vote. Burkina Faso kicks out 3 French diplomats over subversive activities. And survey names Cape Town as Africa's best airport.
And with that, we've come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for joining Africa Good Morning all week. From me, Glenn Rashipura.
And me, Ashwin Berry. See you next week. Swera Jaganaka.